Hi there, Michelle here, and welcome back to my channel. And today's video is going to be a yarn stash busting project. A couple of weeks ago, I did a yarn organizing video where I organized all my yarn, and I have come to the conclusion that I have a lot of yarn. I thought it would be a good idea to maybe use some of that yarn. In that video, I was talking about my 24 days of granny squares, because there was one granny square that stood out of all the granny squares. And if you're unfamiliar with the 24 days of granny squares, it's where I take a D20 dice, I assign each number to a color, and then I roll, and whatever the dice picks out, that's the colors I put into the square. The dice rolled this square here. And to me, this square reminds me of a pansy flower. And I saw it, and I'm just like, eventually I would love to make a project with pansy-inspired squares. And I thought, you know what? Let's just do it. So if you watched my previous Monday vlog, I was talking about the project, and I even went through my bins and I picked out the colors. So you kind of know where this project is going. However, in that vlog, I was saying that I wanted to make it a cute little tie-up vest. I have this vision of what this vest would look like. I think it would look really, really cute. I even filmed the intro that I am filming now yesterday, but I was talking about a vest. And then last night, I started working on said squares, and I'm like, no, this has to be a blanket. I don't do a lot of blankets. I think the only blankets I've done were temperature related. I made 2 of those. And then I think I only made 2 other blankets besides the temperature ones. I don't make a lot of blankets. I'd rather make a wearable because then I can wear it. But then I don't wear a lot of the wearables. So where does that logic go? The 2 other blankets that I made were granny square, somewhat related, but they were with the all-in-one yarns. There was the quilt motif one, which don't get me started on that yarn. It just didn't work for me. But it did teach me corner to corner. I want to do a corner to corner blanket. I don't know, am I just wanting to make blankets now? And then the other one was the Bernat Granny Square one. And it was like this really plush type of yarn that like needed to be made into a blanket. I'll use it every day. I love that blanket so much. Like it's on my bed right now. Okay, so here's the thing. We will be going over the yarn. Okay, I will show you the yarn if you missed the first video. When I was working on the squares, they were looking very, very pretty. And 2 things came into mind. One, the yarn is a 4 medium weight acrylic, and I just don't think I'm going to be comfortable wearing a vest made out of this specific yarn this time of the year. If I were to make this a vest, I think I would like to go with a lighter weight yarn. I would love to make this vest, and I'll probably make the vest in the future. But the point of this video is I do not want to buy any yarn. I only want to use from my yarn stash. And if I were to make the vest, I would have to buy yarn because I don't have a lot of DK weight yarn. I have some, but I don't have all the colors I need for that project. I have so much acrylic yarn, especially the loops and threads impeccable. So much of that yarn. Let's go over the colors for this project. Now, the whole reason I ever even thought about making it is because of the square here, the OG square, and I loved the purple together. And if you watched my Monday vlog, then you'll know that I could not find that purple yarn anywhere. Couldn't find it, and I was so disappointed, and I was even talking about how I might have to buy yarn. Even though this is a stash busting project, the whole reason I wanted to do the project is because of the purple square. I found it, and I wonder who had it. It was my sister. She gave me back the bag, but the bag was hidden underneath a bunch of other bags that I did not see when I was doing my yarn organization video. If she would have used all that yarn up, that is great. We are using the yarn. You know, if I have to buy a new color, okay, because we use the yarn we had. It's not like I'm buying a new color and we still have that yarn. I am very happy that I found that purple yarn. Now, because I'm making a blanket, I'm gonna have to make way more squares, which is kind of neat because now I get to play around with a lot more color combos. If I were to make the vest, I think I was really only gonna stick to maybe 5 or 6 colors, but because it's gonna be a giant blanket, I can expand the color range now, you know, because I didn't want the vest to be crazy and chaotic. I kind of wanted it to like stick with like a color theme, but now I get to play around with it a little bit more. This is the pansy that I am talking about. So it has a darker center and then it has a lighter color around it. So the idea for my squares is I'm going to do a dark center with a matching color, so the same color but the lighter version to go around it. Then I'm going to use this bright green to go around that. Of course I left that in the house. And then I have this dark green that's currently in the house because it didn't fit in this bag and I completely forgot about it. But I have this dark green. It is the Lions brand Pound of Love in Hunter Green. I bought this for my tree cardigan. and I bought too much of it because I bought it for the first year that I did it. I couldn't find it, so I bought another one, and then I found it, so then I have too much of this yarn, which is great because that is going to be my join as you go color. I'm going to be doing 3 colors for the squares, and then the last row for all the squares is going to be this dark green color that is going to be join as you go, which I love join as you go because you don't have to sew the squares together. It's basically cutting out a step if you do join as you go because you're doing your last row and you're joining them together. So instead of you doing your last row and then having to put them together and then sew them together, you're doing the last row and sewing at the exact same time. Well, not sewing, but attaching at the exact same time. Okay, so we have the purples, which was the whole reason I wanted to do this. And then I have these colors. So this is going to be a flower. We have the dark center and we have the outer layer. Now I do have these oranges. I don't know if I'm gonna put orange in it. I don't know if it's gonna be too bright because of how bright this orange is. Not 100% sure. So I might make a few squares and just add them in. It just all depends. So we have like, you know, a dark and a light. And then I have these 2 colors together. So this will be the center. This will be what goes around it. Then I have these 2 colors here. So that's the center. That's what goes around it. But then I also have this. So then this would be the center and then this would go around it. And then I also have this color here. And in my vlog, I was talking about I would love to find a color that would go with this. And I kind of found this one, so I think those look pretty good together. Also, the last thing is I do have these greens here. Now, apart, they kind of look the same, but when you bring them together, they are different colors. But again, I do not want to be buying any yarn. So what I've decided is this brighter yarn is going to be going around all of the warm tone squares, and this darker one, it's like darker by just a little bit, is going to go around all the cool tone squares. I don't know, I think that'll be good, and if I run out of this, then I'll start using this for the warm tone squares. But I think this should be enough. I think that pretty much sums up this project. It was originally supposed to be a vest, and then I'm like, no, I want it to be a blanket. I envision it being a blanket. I can see it on a couch. I can see it on a bed. Like, I can see it. I can really visualize what this blanket is going to be, and I really want to make this blanket now. And I never want to make blankets, so that's something new for me. If you're new to my channel and you like crocheting and yarn and knitting and thrifting and the 80s and this vibe, why not hit the subscribe button? If you subscribe to my channel, then you will be up to date with all of my latest projects and videos. These are the squares that I made last night. I think they look really good. I did end up using the darker green for the border of the cool tone ones, and then I ended up using the lighter green for these. If I could just use this same green for the whole thing, I would love that, but I don't have enough for it. I think they look okay together. Like, they don't look too bad. I will also have that dark green in between. Honestly, I think it's gonna look fine. I don't know how many I want to make right now. This is how they're going to be like spaced out. I don't think I want to make it a square. I think I want to make it longer. So maybe I could do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 by 8. I think that's doable. Yeah, these are some of the color combos that I ended up going with. That one's so pretty, but I love that one. That one's really pretty too. I kind of like them better when they're the same color together. Like, these 2 are okay, but they're not my favorite, but I will make a few more of them just so that way they're not like by themselves. Do like it when it's like purple and purple, yellow, yellow, blue, 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 blue. Even this one looks pretty good with like the pink and the red. That's where I am right now, and I'm just going to keep making the squares until I have enough squares so they can go together. I decided that I was going to lay out all of the colors and just kind of see what I have, and then little Miss Totoro decided she wants to sleep on it. It's not a blanket yet, Totoro. You can sleep on it when it's done. I tried to move them away from her, and yet she's still sleeping on them. What I've decided is at this very moment, I want to make 48 squares. And I do want to make like doubles of colors. So what I'm thinking is I will do 16 different squares. And then out of those 16 different squares, make 3 squares of each color. And I'm also thinking 16 divided by 2 is 8. So I want 8 warm tone ones and 8 cool tone ones. I just need to come up with 2 more colors for the warm tone, and I need to come up with 1 more color for the cool tone. I'm thinking maybe like another like purple type one. Okay, so let me just figure out some color combos. These are the color combos that I'm going to do. Those 2 together, those 2 together, and I'm going to do these 2 together because I really liked how this one turned out with the dark blue and the dark purple. It's either those. No. I mean, it's not bad. This one, which I used there, do I want to do like maybe something, maybe those two together would look good. Like a nice light one. I don't know. I think I'm just going to keep playing around with color combos. I like these and I like those. I think what might happen is instead of me having like 3 of each, I might just keep making a bunch of random ones because I just thought of those and I really want those together now. And if I do a bunch of random ones, like those two as well would look good. Oh my goodness, I just put this one down, but this would look good with that and that one. And then when I'm kind of like out of ideas for color combos, I'll just take my favorite ones from there and make multiples of those. I think that's a good idea. This is where I am right now. I've made 17 squares. So that's what they look like. Okay, so I have to make 3 of each color except one. I only make 2 of that color. And I'm not too sure which one that is yet because they're all so very pretty. Oh, I didn't even realize I did this, but these 3 here are my favorite. I'm gonna figure out which ones I want more of and which ones I want less of. And I just kind of want to show you what it looks like, kind of laid out, and also like the space in between. There's going to be that dark green color. Yeah, I think what I'm gonna do is I might do all the same colors. So I think I might do everything that has a yellow in it. And then that way I don't have this big pile of yarn anymore and I can take all the yellow yarn out. And then I could do everything that has blue and then take all the blue out, back out to my camper. Not take them out, just take them out to the camper. So then that way I don't have to carry around so much yarn. I'm hoping to get half the squares done tonight. So I need to have 24 squares done tonight. I can make more squares tomorrow. And then I just have to join them all together and then weave in ends. Things is looking pretty cute right now. Already have this many squares. These squares up here are already done, so I'm not going to be making any more of these colors. I also ended up doing a new color combo. Really like the bright orange, but I was really afraid that the bright orange would have been too bright, but I think it works for this one, but I don't think the bright orange would work on the outer layer. I think it'd be too bright. I don't know. This pile here, I have to make one more for this color, one more for this color. Everything in these 3 piles, I still have to make 2 of each square. So there's still a lot of squares I gotta make, but it's actually going by really fast. Like this is day 3 of me working on these squares. And I'll probably get the squares done today and then I can start joining them tomorrow. And then I also want to see how big the blanket's going to be. So when I'm done all the squares, I'm going to lay them out, kind of the pattern that I want to put them in, and then see if I want the blanket to be any bigger and then go from there. I don't want it to be like a big blanket. I also don't want it to be a small blanket, but like a nice lap blanket would be good. That's how far I am right now. This is the pile that I now have to weave in all of the ends to. Where is he? Where is he? Zoom out. There he is. There's the boy. Finished all 48 squares. Now I might add more. I don't know at this moment. I'm just going to show you how I weave in the ends for this. I know a lot of times in granny squares, people are like, why don't you just weave them in as you go? I don't really think it works for granny squares because if you're gonna do it, you're pulling your yarn over that little cluster there and then you're gonna see it right there. I don't like that. What I'll do is at the very beginning, when I do my chain of 4 and then I crochet into that, I will crochet over that tail end because I can just cut it and like that's fine. But what I like to do is when it's all done, I will pull on the ends. This is the back, by the way. This is the front, this is the back. And I'm going to double knot 2 pieces of yarn together. And then I'll pull a little bit on the next 2 rows. And then I am going to double knot them. This one down here, I've already kind of woven in as I went, so I can just cut that. Now these ones, I will put my yarn needle in, and then like right here, I'm going to put my needle through, bring that up, not all the way through, just like about halfway. And then I'm gonna go back in, but I'm not gonna go back in the same way that I came out. Pull that, and that one's done. You could keep going back and forth if you really want it super, 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 super secure, but I don't want to. And then I'm gonna do the same thing with the orange. And then instead of going back where I came, I'm gonna go one over and then back through. And again, through. And then one over. Now, even though I am using a different color through this, once I pulled it tight, like you can't even see where I looped it through. The green. All right, and then the last one I have to do is this one here. And then we're still on the back part, and I'm just gonna go through, so it's on this side. And then back. And then I'm putting my yarn needle somewhere where I'm not going to lose it, but now I have lost scissors.
5 minutes later.
And then with my scissors, I'm just going to cut really close to the end. Do the same for here. And then there. Okay, I'm going to put the scissors into the yarn bowl where I'm putting all my scraps. That's the back. That's the front, and then I have this, which is a row counter, but I reward myself for every time I finish weaving in one square, I get to click the little button. So I've done 9. Time for an update on the blanket. It's really weird doing a blanket. There's no try-ons. It doesn't matter if it fits me because it's a blanket. It just all depends on how big and how small I want it. It's really throwing me off. I will admit it is kind of nice not having to try things on and being like, is it gonna fit? Is it not gonna fit? Oh my goodness, I'm freaking out because it's a blanket. Anyways, yesterday I got done all 48 squares. That's the amount of squares that I'm doing right now. That number may or may not change. And I have 15 squares with the ends already woven in. I still have a lot of ends to be weaving in today, and then I just have to join them all together. So I think they are turning out really pretty. So here's one with obviously the ends not woven in. I love how bright that green was. Also, it's so good that I decided to pick both greens because I am almost out of this green. I have like a little bit left. Like again, this is a different green than this green, but it looks kind of the same. And if they're gonna be like far apart, I think it's gonna look okay. Here's one that is done. So the back of it's all clean, the front of it's all clean. It looks very nice. I was kind of thinking, oh, do I just want to weave in the ends at the end when it's done? Not really. I don't want to have like a big blanket on me and weave in all those ends. I would rather just weave in the ends while they are little. And then that way, when they're all joined together, I'm done and I only have to weave in 2 ends, which would be the join as you go, where I start and where I end. So I got a box yesterday, and now Whispers is obsessed with it. So if you hear the box noises, it's because he just threw his little toy ball in there, and now he's playing with it. And Totoro's looking at him like he's crazy, because Totoro just wants to take a nap. I thought it would be a good idea to maybe lay out all of the squares and see how big this blanket is going to get, and then I can decide if I want to make more squares. But let's lay this blanket out, or I can't lay it out yet, but let's lay out the layout for this blanket. That is all the squares laid out. I don't know, do I want to make it longer? Because if I were to make it longer, I kind of have to make that decision now, which means I'd have to make more squares. The join as you go border is going to be here, and I could do another border around it. Like I could do like a 2 border around it, and then that would make it a pretty big blanket. I don't really want this to be like a big blanket. I kind of want it to be more like a lap blanket, or a blanket you throw over like the back of a couch or a chair. And I have to do a lot of join as you go, and the join as you go is going to take— No, Totoro! She's on it again. Totoro, it's not a blanket yet. You can't use it yet. I think this is big enough because now I'm thinking about how long it's going to take me to do the join as you go. Yeah, it's going to take a real long time. So I should probably start that sooner than later. This is not also the layout. When I'm ready to do the layout, we will refilm it, but I just kind of wanted to see the size of the blanket. I think this is a good size. So now what I'm going to do is obviously pick them all up and weave in all the ends of the ones that I haven't woven in yet. And then I can start joining them all together, which I'm very excited for, because I think it's going to look so good with that dark green. Where is that dark green, by the way? It's this green. Oh, that's going to look so good. Okay. All right. I am very excited for this. All the ends are now woven in, and I can start placing them in the order that I want to make this blanket. I also have to look up how to do join as you go again, because it's been a while. I think the last time we did it was that heart tote bag I did, and then I found out that I was doing the join as you go wrong the whole time, and I have to remember what it was that I did wrong to make sure I do it right this time. Anyways, I'm going to spread these out and figure out a layout for the squares. What I'm doing is, it's kind of a pattern, kind of not, but I don't want it to be too chaotic for me. What I'm doing is I'm going to put like the first row this, and then the second row is going to be offset by one. So if there's a yellow here, this is going to be yellow, this is going to be yellow. Purple, 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 pink, 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 blue, blue, blue. And then once everything's out, I can like kind of mix and match colors and be like, you know what, this one actually should go here or there, but I kind of want to just have like a system in place. Sir, please, what are you doing? Sir. Sir. I love you too. You're such a good little boy. I like that one there, so maybe I'll switch this and that. Sir. I think he just keeps walking on it. Sir, can you please stop? Sir! Sir. This is what it... No! I think he's trying to get my hands, because every time... Oh no, sir! I'm gonna lose my mind, sir. Stop! Keeps walking on everything. All right, you sit with me and don't move. Okay, anyways, I think this is the layout. If he didn't move a bunch of stuff all over the place, I'm afraid if I touch it again, he's gonna go after my hand. He's just not stopping. What I'm trying to say is I think this is the layout. I might change it up, but this is it for now. To make sure that Whispers, or Totoro, does not mess up my squares, I put them in order of the rows that they need to go in, and I put my claw clips to keep them together. I also took a photo of them and put them on my iPad, so that way I can look through each row to make sure they are in the right order. Here's the green yarn. Hopefully it looks good. If it doesn't look good, I'll be kind of upset, but it's going to happen. And I think this should be enough. Say I run out of this, I do have another one, different dye lot, but this is a stash busting project, so I don't care if the dye lots don't look right. I want to use up as much yarn as possible. Starting the joining now. Okay, so I'm making some progress on this. On camera, this dark green looks like black yarn, but it is dark green. The join as you go method that I use, I always watch the exact same video. I will link the video in the description if I remember. Sometimes I forget. There's one YouTube video that I always go back to for the join as you go. It's the video that taught me how to do join as you go, so I just kind of follow that. But there is one step in that video that I have to alter, because I really don't like how it looks. Everything else is great except for this one step. I'm at the step right now. Kind of hard for me to explain it. So for like the join as you go, you kind of connect all your squares up here, then you'll go like around the square down, and then you'll like connect it in here, and then you'll go back this way, then back down, and then connect it back up here, etc. The problem I have is this right here. In the video, they say you don't do anything with this. You don't connect into here and then you work. You just leave it open and you work. And I don't like it. And I have to live with that decision to do this every single day because I did it to my one blanket. That blanket that Whispers is sitting on, I would show you, but he is sitting on it. It's because of that step creates this really weird gap and I don't like it. Okay, so the first row will have it because by the time I'm like, you know what, I'm not going to do that anymore, it already has it. So it does this. Okay, I don't know if you can see that. Maybe if I do this. If I pull this apart, do you see that giant hole that is standing out compared to the rest of the corners? Okay, if I'm pulling it apart, all the other ones seem to be nice and closed, but this one, it does that. And that is what that other blanket does, and I can't stand that. So the very bottom row will have it because I didn't think about it until I was on the second row. I should have taken it apart and redid it, but I didn't. I started doing it a different way, and that would be, I think I did it, that'd be like here. See when I'm pulling them apart? There's like those two holes, but that's normal. And those are normal. But nothing is looking quite like that one down there, okay? What I do now, and I just like the look of it better, and I don't know if maybe the step isn't included because it's just one more thing that you have to do, but I'd rather take that extra little step to have it look like how I want it to look. You do your 3 double crochets, and then you slip stitch under. Oh, by the way, if you remember me mentioning how I did something wrong and I had to figure out what I was doing wrong, it was that. I think I was going like this and then yarning over, and you're supposed to go down and yarn over. You do a little slip stitch and then you do 3 double crochets in the next spot. In the video that I watch, they tell you just to keep going and not attach to this corner. But I am going to attach to this corner because I would chain 2 in my corners. So I'm going to chain 1, then I'm going to go into this corner, down, yarn over, pull through, do a little slip stitch, chain 1. And now I'm going to move on. And I just feel like this little hole here is minimal compared to that. I thought I would just bring that up. You don't have to do it. It's just a personal preference of mine, and it's always bothered me. And I'm like, what if I just did that? Like the center part here looks exactly the same if I were or weren't to do that step. So that was a little crochet tip, and I'm going to spend the rest of my evening, it is almost 7 o'clock right now, attaching these together. Attaching does take a really long time. I am about halfway done though. I'm working on my 4th row right now, and I have 4 more rows to go, and then I think I want to do like a 2 or 3 row border. So like that's 1 row. I want to do like maybe 2 rows for sure, maybe a 3rd one. I think it will just all depend on how much yarn I have left. But then I could also do a scallop border because you know how much I love a scallop border. I think that would look really pretty. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. It is the next day, and this is how much I have gotten done. I still have 2 more rows to go. Each row takes a while to do because like you have to join them all up, and then you have to go back and go around each square to finish the last border. I still have a lot of yarn though. Like I still got a lot of this yarn, which definitely should be enough to finish this project. I hope. If not, again, I have a second one. Current time is around 4 p.m. I want to get the 2 rows done. And then once they're done, I can do the border, and then I can do the scallop, and then it will be finished. So I really want to get this done today. I kind of was hoping to get it done yesterday. It didn't happen. That's okay. I forgot how long Join As You Go takes to do. All right, so I was doing pretty good. And then the yarn got stuck, so I pulled it out, and then I pulled all this out. And I've spent the last probably 15 minutes untangling this. I was halfway done, row 1 of 2 rows that I have to get done. I probably would have been on the 2nd row now if I didn't have this happening to me. All of the squares are now sewn together. The blanket seems really big when I'm working on it, but like now that it's done, it could have been bigger. I don't want to make any more squares. I'm done. I'm done making squares. Now that the last row is done, I'm going to finish off the sides here that I didn't do while I was working my way up. So I'm going to go all the way down here, and then I'm going to go all the way down here. And then when I get to this corner, I'm going to go back up, and I'm going to do a second row of these granny clusters. And then when that's done, scallop border time. I finished the first border, and now it is time to work on the second border, which is just more granny stitches all the way around. And yeah, that's not a very interesting project, but looks nice. I guess that's something. I just finished the second row for the border, and now I am on to the scallop edge, and then it will be done, and I will have two ends to be woven in because I already wove in the ends for all the squares. So I'm really happy that I did that for myself yesterday. Almost done this blanket. One thing about the Pound of Love yarn, even though I love this yarn, it is super soft, it is great to crochet with, don't pull from the center. Just don't do it. Don't. I spent the last 20 minutes winding this up. I had to cut it twice because it kept getting tangled up because I pulled from the center. My suggestion would be to pull from the outside of the yarn and ball it up before you use it. Because pulling from the center, I've had to stop multiple times to untangle it. I think it's just because of the size of it, it just gets tangled up a lot. Yeah, if you're gonna use the Pound of Love yarn, wind it up before you start using it, and always wind it from the outside. Don't pull from the center. I've had this problem with pretty much every single color I've ever used from them. Love the yarn, just it's not a center pull type of yarn. I'm working on the scallop edge, and I think it looks so cute. How I do my scallop into my granny stitches is in the little empty spaces, I will do 5 double crochets. And then the second double crochet in this granny cluster here, that's stitch number 1, that's stitch number 2, that's stitch number 3. In the second one, I will do a slip stitch. And then I will do 5 more double crochets in the next open space. 1, 2 in there, slip stitch, and then 5 more in this. That is how I create my scallop edge. I finished the blanket. That was originally supposed to be a vest, but now it's a blanket. We're ready for the reveal of the blanket. There it is. Wow. Oh my goodness. That looks so good. It's so weird like not trying something on for a reveal. It's just it's a blanket. Now how do I put this? Because technically this isn't my first granny square blanket. The Bernat one is, but that one was like an all-in-one yarn. I feel like that blanket is a little bit more modern, where this is just that true vintage retro type of blanket. So this is actually like the first time I've ever made a blanket like this, which is crazy because I have been crocheting for how long and been making how many granny square projects, and this is my first like traditional granny square blanket that I've made. I think it turned out really pretty, and I absolutely just love the colors. They look so good together, especially like the dark green. Like, look at that. That dark green looks so good. It looks exactly how I envisioned it to be. Sometimes I'll make something and I'm like, yeah, that looks good. And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, it looks okay, but this one is exactly how I envisioned it being. Look at that scallop border. I love how that scallop border turned out. The only thing that I would have changed, had I maybe thought of it before I started doing it, is the second to last border. So that middle border that I did in the granny stitch, I kind of wish I would have just done the whole thing in double crochets and then done the scallop border on the double crochets. I think that would have looked really good too. I also still have so much green yarn left. If you do want to make a blanket and you're looking for a color for the Join As You Go, I highly recommend the Lions brand Pound of Love, because I made this whole thing with that green and I still have so much more yarn left. I still have so much of that green yarn left. I thought that I would have run out of that green yarn and would have had to use the second green. Not even close. That is how much yarn you get with that ball of yarn. There's not really a top and a bottom, but this is where I started. And remember how I was telling you that I thought of that new way to do the Join As You Go in the center? If I pull it apart, like right there, but there's that big hole that bothers me. And then I decided to change that up for this one, and there is no hole anymore because I attached those two pieces together. Very happy that I did that, okay? But I didn't figure that out until I was like 1.5 rows in, and then I'm like, oh, you know what? Let's just do that. Could I have made this blanket bigger? Absolutely. I think it would have been amazing if I could make like a couch blanket like this. However, I had just the right amount of time from when I started to when this video has to come out to get this done. I finished at 9 o'clock last night with doing the border. If I were to have made this any bigger, I don't think I would have been able to finish it. It turned out exactly like how I wanted. All the colors of the squares look so good together. I'm gonna put a photo here so you can kind of see the colors that I did. Now I know that I showed you earlier in the video how I decided to line up the colors of the squares, but I thought I would give you the final visual of what that looks like. First corner was a yellow, so then in a diagonal I did yellows all the way down, and then that's the same thing with the purple. That way when I'm putting the squares together, no two colors are touching. No touching! I didn't want any colors to be side by side that were the same, so I didn't want to have like a yellow and a yellow side by side. If they're on a diagonal, that's okay because it looks more spaced out and your eyes are kind of going everywhere. You're not really focusing on the diagonal, where if I were to put the colors in a row, I think your eye would like gravitate towards the rows, where this just kind of looks like I just put them randomly wherever I wanted, but it wasn't random, it was intentional to look like it was random, if that makes sense. Now that we've seen the blanket, let's sit down and talk a little bit more about the process of making this. The blanket is the perfect lap blanket, by the way. That is exactly what I wanted, and to be honest, I didn't really measure that. But it turned out perfect, so I'm good with that. One day, yes, I would love to make a blanket as big as this one on the couch. That's not right now. This blanket here took me about 20 hours to make, which is not that bad compared to some other projects that I've done. Like the last top that I did, the Trails tee, this shirt here, took me about 40 hours to make. This only took me 20. So for anybody thinking, oh, a blanket will take so much longer than a top will, depending on what top you're making, but it actually doesn't take that long. Like 20 hours is not that bad. If I would have like really scheduled myself, spent a little bit more time on this project this week, I didn't really spend as much time as I would have liked to, I probably could have made way more squares and it could have been bigger. In my head, I'm like, oh, it's a blanket. It's going to take me forever. I don't want to like go too much. I just want to like pick a number of squares that I think I can do. And honestly, if I would have like really applied myself to making this week, I probably could have made a lot more squares and made it bigger. I'm very surprised of how fast this went. The squares were pretty quick. I think weaving in the ends and doing the Join As You Go took just as much time as making the actual squares. A lot of the colors looks like I didn't even touch, but there are a few that I did use a lot of. My favorite square out of this whole project, you probably think it's going to be the purple one, the one that like I was obsessed with and the whole reason I did this project, but it's actually this yellow one. Yellow is like my favorite color, and this one reminds me of a daffodil, and daffodils are like one of my favorite flowers. I love them so much. They're so pretty. Also, when they start blooming, they bloom like early spring, sometimes before spring has even started, and that gets me excited because like spring is coming and like winter is over. Even though like I love winter, the thought of like fresh air and like green trees always excites me. So now I just want to give a few of my thoughts of doing a blanket versus doing clothing items. I rarely do blankets. I think the last time I did a blanket was like last summer, early fall of last year. I like making sweaters and cardigans and stuff like that because like I can get more use out of them. I really did enjoy my process of making blankets, but I don't think it's going to be like my new thing. There is another blanket that I really want to make just because I really want to try it, and that is a corner to corner blanket. I kind of did it with those corner to corner squares. Again, don't want to talk about them. But it did teach me how to do corner to corner, and I'll put a photo here. But you can make corner to corner blankets that look like this. And I would love to try it because that is something I do want to make. I just kind of have to figure out of what I want to make it about. So that's kind of the only blanket that I'm going to make anytime soon. I did enjoy the process of making the blanket. It was nice not having to try it on. All my other projects, you know, I have to try it on, make sure it fits. My last project, I was so worried it wasn't going to fit, and I wasn't too sure like what I should do about it. And then this one is just like, just make squares. Just make a bunch of squares and then connect the squares. And then you're done. Like, this was just such a mindless project to me. Like, I didn't have to think about it. All I had to think about was the color combos. Doing each square with a different shade of the color was very helpful because then I'm like, oh, would this look good with that? What about this and that? It's just like, just pick a dark version and then pick the lighter version of that. And that's it. I really like these, and I think it would have made a really, really, really cute vest. Just don't see myself wearing this anytime soon because it is getting a little bit warmer. I believe I already mentioned this, but if I were to make a vest like this with granny squares, I think I would go for more of a DK weight yarn, maybe a cotton. I'm not too sure, but like a lighter, breathable type of yarn. Because the last time I did do a vest, which was the all-in-one granny square yarn, this vest right here, I had trouble trying to fit it how I wanted it to fit, and I was really worried that it was just going to come out looking like a football uniform, like the shoulders were going to be out to here, and it would have been really boxy, and I think that was one of the main things of why I did not want to make it a vest, because I wasn't too sure how flattering it would look, especially with this kind of like bulkier yarn that's just not going to sit nice. So I am glad that I did make it into a blanket and not a vest, but don't worry, I still would love to make a vest like this with these colors, just with a different yarn. And I know I could have bought the yarn and made it the way that I wanted it to be. Again, this was a stash busting project, so I only wanted to use yarn that I had, and I knew I had all the colors in this worsted 4 medium weight yarn. The other thing that I do want to bring up is, can you really tell the difference between the green colors? Kind of see a little difference, but it's not as noticeable now with all the colors and the dark green. So again, anything that is a cool tone or a purple, I used the darker of the bright greens on. And then all the warm tones, I ended up using the lighter green on. Like, you can kind of see there is a little bit of a difference, but from like far away, it looks like I used the same green. I'm quite happy that I was able to use as much yarn as I did for this project. I also think the reason why I don't make a lot of blankets is because if I want a crocheted blanket, I'll probably just go to a thrift store or an estate sale and buy one. So I would rather thrift the blanket because someone worked really hard on that, and if it's in a thrift store, I want to like take it home and like give it a new home, very much like the blanket behind me. I think I got it at an estate sale. It's my new couch blanket, and I think it looks really, really pretty. I'm glad like everybody else can see it and can enjoy the blanket, right? I give this project a 10 out of 10. I think it looks amazing. I have no problems with it. I really like it. Do I wish it was a bigger blanket? Yes. However, I did not have time to make a bigger blanket, nor do I really need a bigger blanket because I have this one here. I have another one. I have the brown one. I have the white one. I have a lot of granny square blankets that I thrifted, so I just didn't think that I needed to make it any bigger. So yeah. In the comments below, let me know if you would rather make a crochet blanket or a crochet wearable. Personally, I like wearables. I would make a sweater over a blanket any day. But with this project here, I don't know, because originally it was supposed to be a vest. And then when I started seeing all the squares come together, I'm like, no, this needs to be a blanket. I am glad that it did turn out to be a blanket, but I think it would also have made a cute top if it was the right yarn. So yeah, let me know in the comments below. Are you team blanket or are you team wearable? And when I mean wearable, I mean like a sweater, a top, stuff like that. I think that does it for this video. So y'all have a good day now.